The Trump administration continues to take a sledgehammer to regulations that cripple our businesses and make the country less free. And now that it's trying to free the internet from Obama-era regulations treacherously called net neutrality, you're never going to guess what the trolls on the internet are really freaking out about: losing access to info on where to get their next abortion. Sandra Fluke, it's been a hot minute since anyone gave a crap about what she had to say about anything. You may remember her from the congressional statement she gave begging the taxpayers to pay for her birth control.
Without insurance coverage, contraception, as you know, can cost a woman over $3,000 during law school. For a lot of students who, like me, are on public interest scholarships, that's practically an entire summer's salary.
Fluke, who is a self-proclaimed social justice attorney, has now moved on from fighting for free contraception to fighting for abortion. Guess since she won't pay for her own condoms, now she just plans to get an abortion after the fact. And she is just devastated by the Trump administration's vote to lift Obama's strangling of the web. She wrote on Twitter, quote, "Killing net neutrality would kill access to abortion information. Before tomorrow's vote, take action with us to demand the FCC keep the internet open for reproductive freedom." All right, a couple things, Sandy. I wish that were true. I really do, but it's just not. Also, if abortion were illegal, like it should be, this wouldn't even be an issue, because you would just go to Google and you type in, where do I go to get my next abortion? And Google would say you can't. The lies and misinformation surrounding this topic are stunning. Anyone on Twitter in the last few months has seen these full-blown, nonsensical meltdowns. There are people who even believe it will lead to an increase in suicide. Jesu the reindeer says if net neutrality happens, watch depression and suicide rates increase because of people who have social anxiety. All right, calm down, people. Here's the first thing you need to know about net neutrality. The name is about as deceptive as it gets. It does the exact opposite of neutrality, which by definition would suggest that government remains neutral. The government is anything but neutral with net neutrality. Instead, it gives government control over internet service providers and hands bureaucrats the power to pick the winners and losers of the web. Most Americans would probably agree that the internet was working just fine before Obama got involved, back in the dark, dark days before 2015. And if you ask them if they would prefer that government come in and make the internet resemble something more like the DMV or the post office, they'd tell you to get your hands off my internet. Government barely runs what it already has control over with any aptitude, and yet bureaucrats have some compulsion to run in and find the next thing to ruin with their incompetency. Washington is filled with the prevailing belief that if politicians impose enough rules, they can fix every single problem. This has never worked, and it never will. But they insist it will, and people with special interests use scare tactics like this one. Watch.
Without net neutrality, there's nothing stopping my service provider from simply blocking websites or slowing down the streaming speeds of websites, like Netflix.
Yes, there is. It's called the free market. Customers are going to flee in droves if all of a sudden Comcast decided to block them from accessing their favorite websites. Sure, they can charge big users more, as syndicated columnist John Stossel wrote. Such experiments do discriminate, but they also bring innovation like free data plans. They create incentives for building better fiber optic networks, meaning faster speeds and lower prices for most everyone. The problem is most people don't know this. They are told by big tech giants like Google and Apple and Amazon and Facebook, all, by the way, who have skin in the game here, that ending net neutrality will kill the internet, and then they fall in lockstep. And because of this, Sandra Fluke thinks that the internet is going to block her and all of her girlfriends from accessing their favorite abortion websites. She's not the only one being duped by the left. Here's what people in Washington, D.C. said when our producer, Julia, asked them why they opposed net neutrality. Hint, they literally had no idea what they're talking about.
Are you for or against the upcoming vote to repeal the net neutrality rules?
I'm against it, definitely.
I am against rolling back the regulations on net neutrality.
What would happen if they are rolled back?
Our internet service providers would be able to charge us more for certain types of content, which would affect people's access.
Why is that a bad thing?
Because the internet should be considered a resource that supports democracy, and people should be able to access it.
It's kind of like those toll lanes in Virginia, where if you decide to spend more money, you can drive faster.
Is that a bad thing?
If you can't afford to spend the money, hell yeah, you still got to get to the same place, don't you?
But you're ability to use a road might not be a fast lane, you still have a road that you can use to get there.
That's bull. Because what you're doing is you're making a tier of things. Come on now. Please. I'm out.
In typical leftist fashion, when he started to lose the argument, he just walked away. But a lot of what we heard out there was that net neutrality would make the internet more free. That just is not true. Anytime government controls something, it is less free. By definition, it is less free. Government cannot make something freer. The best way for government to create a level playing field for everyone is to get out the way.